welcome to another episode of the program Let's Talk. As I usually tell you, this program has been designed to help you face the challenges of this pandemic. And today we are looking at the issue of the wearing of the nose masks or the face shield and the spread of the coronavirus. And as usual, to help us in this discussion is our resource person, Reverend Father Eric Eliasson. Father, you are welcome.
Thank you, Father.
Friends, during the last update, that is the 11th update by the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, he said, to help us stop the spread of the coronavirus, the wearing of masks is now mandatory. And he issued an executive instrument, an EI number 164, which enables the police to ensure that this wearing of masks is implemented to the core. And so in our discussion today, we are looking at the relationship between the masks and the spread of the virus. Father, just as I said in the introduction, wearing of masks now in Ghana for the next 3 months is mandatory. What is the relationship between the masks and the spreading of the coronavirus?
Thank you very much, Father. And I want to greet our viewers and give you a very good morning. And I hope you are all doing well. Father, this is a very valid question. I'm happy that today we are discussing the issue of nose masks. I was happy when the President said that the wearing of nose masks is mandatory. But thinking deeply, I was not too happy because he could not, look at other considerations. And I think in making laws, we should look at the other side of the law. So today, I want us to look at the nose mask, how important it is in prevention of COVID, and the danger that it poses to us in wearing the nose mask itself. Yes, I do agree. And most of our viewers are now perhaps familiar with the COVID-19 issues. They are also familiar with the mode of transmission. But I will once again go into the mode of transmission in relationship with the nose mask or the face shield, so that we will understand whether the compulsory wearing of nose mask is worth it or not.
Okay. I
don't dispute the fact that the President has done well in giving that law. But let's look at this. What are we saying here? That the disease is spread through droplets from speaking, or maybe from coughing, or from sneezing. And we're saying that anytime we speak, we can have droplets coming out of our mouth. And somebody who is near us, this droplet can enter the mouth or the eye or the nose. Are we okay with that? And if the person is infected, then this droplet gets to the person can as well be infected. We're also saying that when somebody coughs or sneezes, once again, droplets come out of the person's nose. And somebody who is closer to the person can also be infected through the infectious droplet. We're also saying that when somebody touches an infected surface, the person may pick the virus. And if this person does not sanitize the hand or wash the hand, and the person touches the mouth, the nose, the eye, or any of the orifice, the person is likely to contract the disease. Perhaps these are the mode of transmissions. With this short explanation, you could see that the nose mask is very important when dealing with people at close proximity. When I'm talking to you in a very close proximity, it is very good to wear the nose mask. But when there's distance apart from us, I don't see the need for the nose mask. 2, you can see definitely or surely from the explanation I have given about the transmission of the disease, one thing that will help most is the issue of social distancing. Because if the person speaks and you're not close to the person, the droplets may not reach you. If you're 1 meter or 2 meters away from the person, you are not likely to be reached with the droplets. And so, for me, our emphasis here would be on social distancing.
Okay.
Then also one other thing, with regard to surfaces, touching surfaces, an important aspect here is hand hygiene. Hand hygiene, where we wash our hands under running water with soap, or we use alcohol rub to sanitize our hands. So, in summary, I would say that to use the nose mask effectively, it will go to use it with other protocols. So the nose mask together with social distancing and hand hygiene will be effective for prevention of COVID-19. However, the nose mask should not be abused and should be used in the appropriate contexts.
Okay.
So after we have gone through the nose mask, I don't intend to pass judgment on the president's mandatory wear of nose mask, but the viewers will judge for themselves after we have gone through the discussions.
Okay. So in order to overcome this pandemic, in order to mitigate the spread of this pandemic, using the nose masks and then adhering to the other social protocols, such as social distancing, washing of hands, and the use of the sanitizer is the way to go.
Yes, sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Now, having given us a background to today's discussion, how many types of the nose masks do we have?
Thank you very much, my brother. I can easily identify 3 types.
Okay.
And with the coming in of the face shield, which is not a nose mask, but a shield, we say, but a nose mask we have 3 types.
Okay.
We have what we call the surgical mask or the medical mask. We have the N95 mask and the cloth mask.
Okay.
So in this we have 3 of them.
Okay.
And you can see the surgical mask, as the name suggests. And the surgical mask is a loose-fitting disposable mask, which more or less protects the wearer's nose and mouth from contact with droplets, splashes, and sprays that may contain germs. Okay, and it filters out large particles in the air. And let's emphasize on this one. The surgical mask filters out large particles from the air. The emphasis here is on large particles. I want to just show an example of the surgical mask I'm talking about. This is the surgical mask. You can see many people wearing the surgical mask as a type of nose mask or face mask. This is a surgical mask. And we're saying that it is a loose-fitting, disposable mask that prevents droplets and all those things from entering into the wearer. And so this is the nose mask. It is loose-fitting. So it filters out large particles from the air. And when I'm emphasizing large particles, the question somebody asks me is, what about smaller particles? And that's a disadvantage of this mask. This mask is not able to filter out smaller particles. And so you can see that if using this mask as a prevention against coronavirus may not help much, because it is not able to filter out smaller particles.
Okay.
If you look at the nature of the virus, perhaps if you don't take the protection level this one gives may not be maybe too safe for that.
Okay.
And I can see many people using this mask. Yes, it's highly convenient using this one, which is lighter.
Okay.
But it has its purpose. It's called surgical mask or medical mask.
Okay.
And you can easily see where this mask is used.
Okay.
Good. Then we also say that we're saying that the level of protection for this surgical mask is lower than that of the N95.
Okay.
Let's look at the N95. This is a type of respirator because it has it helps the wearer to breathe in and breathe out very easily. For this one, it's easy to breathe in and out because it has a lot of, it's a bit porous. So somebody is easy to breathe in and out.
Okay.
And this one has a respirator because it's a stick. It has a respirator.
Can you turn it for the viewers to see? Yeah.
This is a respirator. So not all of them has this valve as a respirator. This one does not have. But you can see that there's enough space for you to breathe. But this one has the respirator. So there are two types of the N95 mask. That is it. We're saying that this N95 mask is able to filter out both large particles and smaller particles.
Okay.
And if I say this one, you easily know the level of protection it can give.
Okay.
And as the name suggests, N95, this one is able to give 95% protection. 95% protection against germs and viruses. Okay. And we're also saying that when somebody uses the N95 mask, the wearer breathes in filtered air. Okay. When the air that goes into the wearer is filtered. However, there is a hitch here. The hitch here is that the wearer of this mask exhales, breathe out unfiltered air. The air that you breathe in is filtered, so you are protected from somebody who is closer to you. But when you breathe out, the air that you breathe out is unfiltered. And if the air that you breathe out is unfiltered, remember, perhaps it prevents you from getting the germs, but the person who is standing closer to you may or can be infected because you're breathing out unfiltered air.
Okay.
So although this one gives maximum protection more than this one, it protects the wearer more than somebody who is standing close to the person.
Okay.
But when it comes to coronavirus, I think that this one gives more protection than this.
Okay.
Simply because this one filters both large particles and smaller particles.
Okay.
And the interest is that these two masks are reserved for health professionals. Okay? Because they were designed for that purposes.
Okay.
For us, and to prevent shortage of these masks, and that's why WHO quickly recommended the use of the cloth mask.
Okay.
This one, in fact, it can be very much uncomfortable in terms of breathing when it is very much uncomfortable. But it is cheaper and easy to get because the fabric for this one is all over in our environment. And so WHO more or less prescribed this one for use because of pressure on the surgical mask and the nose mask. So health professionals can have access to this one for their use, and that we who are not health professionals can use this one in prevention of the COVID-19. Okay, but what I would say is that this one, WHO, FDA in Ghana has approved some of them for use, and if you look at the WHO prescriptions for making the cloth mask, it must have layers of fabric. And so this is 3 ply, 1, 2, 3. It's not just one. You can see most of the ones who are using are just one, and just one cloth like that. But that's also another way of going about it. It is better than no mask.
Okay.
And this one can also be comfortably used at the hospital because of the layers it involves. It's cheaper, more or less, and also easy to use, but very much uncomfortable.
Okay.
Uncomfortable.
Now, since we are talking about face masks, let me bring in this one, the face shield. Now, what is the role of the face shield in this fight against the coronavirus?
Yes. Before then, just as we have said, the face shield may play the role of a nose mask. That droplets from the wearer will not get to somebody who is standing close by the person.
Okay.
Or the person speaking to you may not also, you don't also have droplets from the person. So a shield, it protects you from the droplet, either from yourself or from somebody who is speaking with you.
Okay.
With this background, the face shield is called a shield. Why a shield? A shield because it protects your orifices, the eye, the nose, the mouth, and perhaps
No,
the
it doesn't
ears
cover
left
the
out.
ear, yeah.
But the most important orifice where droplets can enter is we have the eye, the nose, and the mouth. So if it's a shield, then we are saying that fine. If somebody is speaking to you, it will block droplets from entering you. And when you speak also in that direction, when you speak, the droplet from you cannot also reach the person.
So they don't travel to the person.
It's not possible because
Okay.
because if they will travel, the shield will shield them.
Okay.
And so you, the wearer, what you have to do is that constantly you need to do what? Disinfect the shield.
Okay.
And also make sure you don't touch the inside of the field without disinfecting your hands.
Okay.
In this way, if you do that, you can easily also be infected.
Okay.
But it also gives some level of protection.
Okay.
So we argue that when you speak, the droplet may fall down, but falling down is not the same as
Traveling.
traveling to somebody who you are speaking with.
Okay.
So I think it also gives a level of protection. And for me, I recommend this one more for people because I will get there.
Okay.
We will get there. We'll get there. This one helps you to breathe out and in and out freely.
Okay.
So it also gives some level of protection actually.
Okay. Now, the question then is, having given us the different types of the masks, nose mask or the face mask or whatever, and the shield, when exactly are you supposed to wear them?
Yeah, if you look at the background information I have given you, the nose mask is to prevent droplets from you, the wearer, from reaching out to somebody you are in contact with. Or also to prevent somebody you are in contact with droplet to reach you. So in this case, the first then common sense that will come to your mind is that you wear a nose mask when you are in contact with people.
Okay.
That is the first thing you should.
Yeah.
So if anytime you are in contact with people at closer proximity, you should wear a nose mask. Whether the person is infected or not, because you don't know who is
The state
infected.
of the person, yeah.
So if you know that you are going to be in closer proximity with people, the common sense thing to do is to wear the nose mask.
Okay.
As where Ben is, where you are, okay? At least there's distance from us. And so if you're having a discussion like this, I don't think my droplet will go this way and reach you. My droplet cannot travel to Ben. So in this way, I think that we have enough distance.
Yeah.
And this way, there will not be a need for the nose mask. But if we are close with each other, nose mask is important. 2, anytime you are going into a public where social distancing will be a problem, you definitely have to be in nose mask. For instance, at funerals, how about that? No matter social distance you talk about at funerals, matter people will not observe it. And so at such gatherings, it's compulsory, mandatory for people to wear nose masks. While they are 10 or 15 or something, they have to still wear nose masks.
Yeah.
At that time also, if you look at the diversity of the people at the funeral, it is so safe to wear the nose mask. Also at all public gatherings, be it at the mall, the ShopRite, you definitely
The
come
market,
to the
all
market,
those
all these areas. You will definitely be in contact with people.
Yeah.
And so it is safer to wear the nose mask. This brings me to a question about church, wear nose masks even at church. Because if you look at the social distancing people have provided in their churches, 1 or 2 churches are bigger churches, one person is here, other person is there, another person is there. Then you ask yourself, what is the need for wearing the nose mask in these circumstances? When you have said people should not congregate, when you have said that collection should be collected perhaps at the entrance, when you have said that. So for me, the issue of churches wearing nose masks, I'm totally against it. If the churches will actually observe the social distances, we have enough spaces. And one thing I'm against about the church law is the fact that they don't even take into consideration the size of the church building.
Okay.
And so for me, churches wearing nose masks in churches, if they're able to observe the social distance, I think it's needless, actually.
Okay.
It is. Then, I also saying that when you're taking care of somebody who is sick, okay, somebody who is sick, you don't know the status of the person. So and taking care of a sick person, definitely you will come into close contact with the person.
Yeah.
And so it will go to wear the nose mask. And when we're dealing with a COVID patient or a suspected COVID patient, it is good for you also to wear nose mask. And we should remember, it's not just the wearing of nose mask.
The other protocols also.
If you wear the nose mask and even the person speaks and a droplet touches the nose mask, and we have not been taught the proper way of wearing a nose mask, you will infect yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I think we'll look at all those things. Then let's quickly look at when not to wear
The nose mask.
nose mask.
Yeah.
Okay. When you are alone at your home, you are wearing nose mask. You see, I get the impression anytime I walk in town that other people are thinking that it is airborne disease, where you walk there and the thing will infect you. And so you can see people, even in their homes, they're wearing nose masks. Where and even people are walking alone in the street and they're wearing nose masks. Somebody is alone in his air-conditioned car and he's wearing nose mask. Somebody is not in contact with anybody, he's wearing nose mask. Perhaps it's a fear that we have put in them. And perhaps as a result of the law, that you should wear nose mask anytime you're going out. But we are killing these people. So, and I'm shocked about the silence of the health personnel who are not coming out to say anything. And they are aware that this law can kill people, but not all people can wear a nose mask. Some people with breathing difficulties cannot wear, they will die. Somebody with asthmatic, can such a person put on nose mask, and for how long? And so I think that our people must come out to talk. And the destruction of any nation starts from the silence of good people or the silence of people who know the truth and they are quiet. And so we are saying that when we are sleeping or exercising, recently there was an issue on social media who said that somebody was jogging and the person had a nose mask on, the person fainted and nearly died. It beats common sense that you are jogging in the street alone and perhaps you are wearing nose mask, you are exercising, and you know the amount of oxygen that you need even in exercising, and you put on nose mask. Even in walking, you know the heart beats fast, and if you put on nose mask. And so I think health people should come out again to speak something to us before we begin to lose many people as a result of this mandatory wearing of the nose mask. So I think that people should know when to wear the nose mask. And by the mechanism of transmission, you wear nose mask only when you are in contact with people. If you're not in contact with anybody, for me, it is superfluous and needless to put on the nose mask. You will kill somebody.
Okay. Now, having explained all these things to us, one question still remains. How do we wear the nose masks?
Thank you very much, Father. I think most of us are using the
cloth one,
the cloth mask. Okay, so when you pick your nose mask, touch it from here, from this end. First of all, it's good you sanitize your hands with alcohol rub. You wash your hands or perform any of the hand hygiene practices before you touch your mask. If it is in a rubber, you find a way, once you have sanitized your hand, find a way of taking it out of the rubber. Then you touch it from this side. From this side. Okay? Then you put it on your nose and in the mouth. If it is you have rope to tie it behind your head, you do that. If you have these loops, you do that and tie it comfortably. Although it's uncomfortable. Yes. Then here to fit very well. And we are saying that when you are wearing your mask, don't touch the frontage of the mask. Don't touch the frontage of the mask. Then when you're also removing, if you accidentally, when you're wearing the mask and you accidentally touch the frontage, it's good you sanitize your hand or wash your hand. Because you don't know whether somebody has spoken and the dropper will come into contact with you. And so if you don't sanitize your hand, and you touch your eye or something, you are likely to be infected. So anytime you touch the frontage of your mask, you need to sanitize your hand. It's very important. And when you're also removing your nose mask, please don't touch the frontage. Don't just, somebody will just touch and remove like that. Because you've worn the nose mask for hours. You've gone to places, you don't know whether droplets have landed on your nose mask. And if you touch it from here, your hands could be infected. When the hands are infected, you may not know and may touch any of the orifices, and you will be infected. Or you may also go and touch some surfaces. You will infect the surface. Somebody may go and touch the place and be infected. So when you remove the mask, don't touch the frontage. Gently hold it from the loop here and remove it. And if it is washable and reusable like this, you have to take it to a proper place, wash it on the running water, dry it in the sun, and iron it for reuse.
Okay.
But make sure you don't touch the frontage. And if you touch the frontage, make sure you sanitize your hand.
Lately, I've been observing people that whenever they are in the nose mask and they are talking, you see them touching the faces of the nose mask and all these things. As if the nose mask is full, they have to pull it back and all. And what advice do you have when it comes to these situations?
No, brother, I will never blame those people. We can't blame them. If you have not said for what you have observed, let's do this education on nose mask, some people will not even know what we are talking about here. Okay? If you do adverts on TV and those things, how many people have access to these things? So it's a whole complicated issue. And people may even infect themselves from nose mask. Before I come there, if you are using the surgical mask and you dispose it, please don't just throw it in the street. Don't touch it. Find either you burn it, and the best way is to burn it, or dispose in an appropriate bin and make sure you burn them later. And don't just leave them if you're in the home. Don't leave them at the hall, at the kitchen. It's not correct. And that's what people are doing. You walk and you see surgical masks lying somewhere. They can be highly infectious. And so we should know the better way of disposing the mask. And to our friends who you can see prominent people speaking and touching their nose mask. But it's highly uncomfortable. Okay? And there's an impulse to touch it when they're talking. We're not used to it. And so anytime, as I said, you touch the tip of the frontage of your nose mask, please sanitize your hands.
Okay.
If not, you forget and touch your eye, and you can be infected.
Okay.
It's highly uncomfortable, but if you are in close proximity, please try as much as possible to wear it. Or if you can observe social distancing, you observe. And that's why I have a problem with your mandatory, the law that came. I have a problem with that law.
Okay. All right. Now, we know how to wear the nose masks. We know how to wear it. Now, my question is, are all people supposed to wear the nose mask, taking into account those who are asthmatic and children in particular?
Yeah, so I have here what I have caution.
Okay.
The question I have here is for all of us. And I said, don't put nose mask on anyone who has trouble breathing.
Okay.
Yes. The person already has trouble breathing. You're putting nose mask on the person. Or anyone who is unconscious. Or anyone unable to remove the mask without help.
Okay.
So the person perhaps has problem with the hand,
yeah.
or the person has a stroke, and if you put the nose mask on the person, and the person is suffocated, the person is not able to remove it, don't do that. And don't put nose mask on children under 2 years of age. It's not advisable at all. They are children, and you can't do that. And we say that don't use face mask as a substitute for social distancing.
Okay.
If you are able to observe the distancing, observe. In this way, I also say that those with heart problems, it's not advisable for them to use the nose mask. And you know, people with suffering from asthma, some of them have serious breathing difficulties. And if these people are coerced, forced to use the nose mask, we are killing our people. And so that's why I said that the law did not take into consideration some of these things. Perhaps people did not alert the president on these things. Although the nose mask.
I think that before you go into that, the law has been made, but
Yes.
the law court is also there to interpret the law. So
Yes.
when you are arrested and you are taken to court, the court will look at your situation and give a judgment. So you lost go on.
So I shouldn't wait for somebody to die before.
No, you are not waiting for someone to
So
die.
if the person is not aware that because I have this breathing difficulty, I'm not supposed to put on a nose mask, and the person puts on a nose mask and something happens, should the person wait till the person is arrested and take it to the court before we make the correction? We're saying this thing for the president, perhaps, or those who can read the press to let him know that there are some people who cannot use the nose mask.
Because of their condition?
Yes.
Okay.
So the president get to know that there should be other considerations. But thank God, yesterday I heard the Minister of Information saying that they should give a purposive interpretation
Exactly.
to the law.
Exactly.
And perhaps this one can fall into the purposive interpretation.
Okay.
But we don't wait till somebody is arrested, taken to a court before they give interpretation to the law. Actually.
Okay. All right. You are talking on the cautions.
The
Yeah.
caution. I think I'm done with that one.
Okay. Okay. All right. Now, for how long should one wear the mask? A problem of duration. If I'm working in the marketplace, should I wear the whole day?
You yourself, your body itself will not allow.
Okay.
Because you will feel the effect.
Okay.
You will feel it. Even if you wear it continue for 1 hour, brother, you will see what will happen. And I don't want to jump the gun. But for me, I can't prescribe the number of hours somebody can wear nose mask. All I'm saying is that if you're not in contact with somebody, don't use the mask.
Okay.
Because it's fine. I'm not saying this one to discourage people from obeying the present law. No, I'm not doing that. But this can also mean that don't move out of your house.
Yeah. Without any purpose or
Yes.
whatsoever.
Yes. You have nothing doing outside per the law. For me, if it's mandated to wear nose mask, and you know that you have nothing to do outside, you have nothing to do in the public, stay home or stay somewhere alone. But in the country now, once you decide to step outside, you have to wear the nose mask.
Yeah.
That is it. And so, if you have nothing doing, please stay out, because the nose mask can pose some dangers to our health.
Okay.
Yeah, so I want to look at some dangers of wearing the nose mask. And quickly, the question you just asked, that for how long we should wear the nose mask, you have to know that if you wear the nose mask for long, what will happen? Oxygen in the blood reduces, and you know, when oxygen in the blood reduces, you know what will happen. You can have a lot of issues, you can have headache and all those things. Oxygen to the brain also reduces, and that has a problem. You will start feeling weak, you can even faint, and sometimes may lead to death. We're also saying that the nose mask can also hurt children under 2 years. It can cause even the spread of the disease if it is not properly disposed. It can cause the spread of the disease. And it can also restrict the airflow to the body, and that's why we have said it. It can restrict airflow to the body itself, and it can mess up with your eye. Because when you wear the nose mask and you breathe out, it goes straight to your eye. Those who use spectacle lenses should look at it. When you exhale, the air comes to your eye. And I tell you, you can easily infect your eyes. So, to my final words now, there are other dangers. Final words is just an advice. Let's reduce the use of nose masks if there's opportunity for social distancing or isolate ourselves from the public. So instead of using the nose mask all the time, let's try as much as possible to isolate ourselves most of the times. And let's go into the public or come out of our houses when it is highly essential. If it's not essential, let's avoid the use of the nose mask. However, if you choose to go out and be in contact with people, use the nose mask, but not just the nose mask. Observe the other protocols, social distancing, and washing of and hand hygiene. Thank you.
All right. Friends, it has been a marathon of a discussion, taking a look at the nose masks, the benefits of the nose masks, when to wear the nose masks, when not to wear the nose masks, those who can wear the nose masks, and those who are not supposed to wear the nose masks. The point still remains, in our fight against this coronavirus pandemic, it is the nose masks, together with the washing of hands and the running water, the use of the hand sanitizer, and the alcohol-based rub is what will protect us, together with the social distancing. Till I come your way again with another episode of Let's Talk, keep faith alive, and God bless you.